Hey everyone, and welcome back to Lied To. I hope you are well. Today's story is about a man who spent 9 years building a life with someone, only to discover she was already dismantling it behind his back. He didn't yell, he didn't beg, he just disappeared. Here's his story. Let's find out together.
I met my wife when I was 26, she was 24. We dated for 3 years, got married, and spent the next 6 building something I thought was unbreakable. 9 years total. I want you to understand what that looked like before I tell you how it ended. Every Sunday morning, we made coffee together, not in some Instagram way. I ground the beans, she heated the milk, we sat on the back porch and didn't talk for the first 10 minutes. It was our thing. Every October, we rented the same cabin upstate, same one, same week. The owner knew us by name. She'd leave a bottle of wine on the counter before we arrived. Our sex life was good. I'm saying that because it matters later. It wasn't just frequent, it was connected. We talked about what we wanted, we tried new things. I never once felt like she was somewhere else when she was with me. We had a joint savings account with a 5-year plan. We'd mapped out the house we wanted, the neighborhood, the school district, even though we hadn't started trying yet. We were the couple people pointed to at dinner parties. "You two just work," our friends would say. And I believed them. We weren't perfect. We argued about dishes and money and whose family we'd visit at Christmas. But we always came back to each other, always. Then one Tuesday night in March, she sat me down at the kitchen table and asked me if I'd ever considered an open marriage. The words didn't make sense. Not because I didn't understand them, because they didn't belong in her mouth. It was like hearing someone read a grocery list in the middle of a funeral. I just stared at her. I found out later she already had someone specific in mind. But I'll get to that. She had a whole speech prepared. I could tell. Because she wasn't looking at me, she was looking past me at the wall behind my head. The way you do when you rehearse something in the mirror. She talked about expanding our emotional bandwidth. She said it could strengthen what we already have. She used the phrase ethical non-monogamy 3 times in 4 minutes. She referenced a podcast. She referenced a book I'd never heard of. She referenced her therapist. So she says, I said no. I said it clearly. I said, "That's not something I want, and I'm surprised you do." She said she understood. She said it was just a conversation. She said she was glad I was honest. And then she dropped it. Too quickly. Way too quickly. Like someone who had already moved on to plan B. Within 2 weeks, things shifted. Subtle at first. She started going to the gym at 6 a.m. instead of after work. She got her nails done on a Wednesday, which she never did. She bought new underwear, not the kind you buy for yourself. She started putting her phone face down on the counter every time she set it down. Every single time. That's not a habit, that's a decision. Day 16 after the conversation, she came home at 11:40. On a Wednesday, I was in bed pretending to be asleep. She got in next to me and she smelled like soap. Not her soap. Hotel soap. That thin chemical kind. I asked her the next morning where she'd been. "Girls' night," she said. "With who?" "Jess and Amanda, until almost midnight. On a Wednesday." She said they lost track of time. I said, "I just want to know what's going on with us." She looked at me and said, "You need to stop being insecure. I asked you one question weeks ago, and now you're acting like I cheated on you." I backed off. Real mature. I know she used the word insecure like a weapon. She didn't just say it, she placed it deliberately to make me feel like the problem was my reaction, not her behavior. I hadn't checked her phone yet. That ended on a Saturday. She was in the shower, her tablet was on the nightstand, still logged into her messages. I didn't plan it, I didn't go looking for it. The screen lit up with a notification, and I saw a name I recognized, a guy from her office. I picked it up. I told myself I'd look at one message, just to prove to myself I was overreacting. I was not overreacting. Tier 1 was flirty, thinking about you stuff, heart emojis, inside jokes I wasn't part of. Tier 2 was explicit, detailed, things she wanted to do to him, things she'd already done, and then I saw it. She told him she wished she'd met him first. That sentence broke something in me that I don't think will ever fully heal. 9 years, and she wished she'd met him first. Tier 3 was photos, I won't say what kind. You already know, and here's the part that made me go cold. The timestamps. The earliest message was from February. She asked me about the open marriage in March. She didn't ask because she was curious. She asked because she was already doing it and wanted permission after the fact. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped her phone. I sat on the bathroom floor for 20 minutes while she finished her shower. I could hear her singing. She was singing. I went through everything. I screenshotted every message, every photo, every confirmation. 47 messages in one thread. 3 months of photos, 2 hotel receipts on the shared credit card. I cross-referenced the dates with every girls' night she'd had in the last 3 months. Every single one lined up, not most of them. Every one. I put her phone back. I went to bed next to her. I didn't sleep. I lay there listening to her breathe, and I was already planning. I didn't confront her. I know a lot of people think that's the move. You throw the evidence on the table, you get your big scene, you watch them squirm. I didn't want to give her that. A confrontation is still a conversation, and a conversation meant she could talk me out of it, or cry, or explain, or promise. I knew myself well enough to know that if she cried hard enough, some stupid part of me would try to fix it. So I went quiet. I called a divorce attorney on Monday morning from my car in the office parking lot. By Wednesday, I had a consultation. By the following Monday, I had a plan. I started separating finances slowly, moved money into a personal account, redirected my direct deposit, took my name off the joint credit card. She didn't notice. She was too busy texting Mark. I went to work. I made dinner. I sat across from her at our kitchen table. I asked about her day. I smiled. I was already gone. Then I ghosted her. It was a Thursday. She left for work at 8:15 like she always did. By 9:30, I had 2 suitcases packed, clothes, laptop, passport, a box of things I couldn't leave behind. My dad's watch, a photo album from before we were married, the coffee mug my best friend gave me when I got promoted. I left one thing on the kitchen counter, a printed screenshot of the most explicit message thread between her and Mark. I put my wedding ring on top of it. No note, no explanation, just the evidence and the ring. I didn't want to hear her explain. I didn't want to give her a scene she could perform in. Some people need the last word. I needed the last silence. I blocked her on everything. Phone, text, email, Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. Complete digital disappearance. Her reaction came through other people. 47 calls in 3 hours before she realized I'd blocked her. She called my mother. She called my best friend Jake. She showed up at my office. Reception told her I wasn't available. I was sitting 30 feet away, watching through the glass. Jake told me later how it went. The cycle. First, she denied it. She said the screenshots were old. From before we were together, the dates were in the screenshots. Then she cried. Then she pleaded. She told Jake she'd end it with Mark immediately, that it meant nothing. Then she bargained. She said she'd go to therapy, she'd do anything. Then came the rage. She told Jake I was a coward, that a real man would have talked to her, that I owed her a conversation. After what she did. My mom called me that night. She said my wife was on her doorstep sobbing saying she didn't know where I was, saying she was scared. My mom told her to go home, and then my mom called me. She said, "Your wife is falling apart." And I felt nothing. That scared me more than anything my wife had done. 9 years of loving someone, and I felt nothing watching her world cave in. I didn't feel vindicated. I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt like I was watching weather happen to someone else. There was one more thing I had to do. I found Mark's wife. Her name was Lisa. 2 kids in her profile picture. I sent her everything. All the screenshots. A brief message explaining who I was and what I'd found. I said, "I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but she deserved to know." Lisa wrote me back 2 days later. She was devastated, but she thanked me. She said she'd had suspicions, but no proof. She said her oldest had just started kindergarten. I thought about that kid for a long time. Word got back to their workplace. HR got involved. Mark got reassigned to another department. My wife, still technically my wife at that point, was put on a performance improvement plan for an unrelated reason that I suspect was very related. I never asked for details. About 3 weeks after I left, a mutual friend showed up at my new apartment with a handwritten letter from my wife. 3 pages. I read it standing in my kitchen. It was full of I statements. I feel scared. I feel lost. I didn't mean for this to happen. I feel like I'm losing my mind. 3 pages about her feelings, not once. Did she say, "I understand how much I hurt you"? Not once did she acknowledge what she'd taken from me. It was a letter about her experience of getting caught and buried at the bottom, the trickle truth. She admitted the affair was physical. She wrote, "It only happened a few times. The hotel receipt said otherwise. 2 hotels, multiple dates." She was still lying in her apology letter. She couldn't even be honest when she was begging. 5 weeks after I left, she found my apartment. I still don't know how. I opened the door and barely recognized her. She'd lost weight. Her eyes were swollen. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She asked if she could come in. I let her. I don't know why. She sat on my couch in my empty apartment, and she begged me to go to counseling with her. She said we could fix it. She said she'd spend the rest of her life proving it to me. She said she loved me. I told her. The marriage ended the night she asked to open it. Everything after that was just paperwork. She kept asking why. Why wouldn't I try? Why wouldn't I fight for us? As if the answer wasn't printed on our kitchen counter. I loved her. Sitting there on that couch, looking at what was left of her, I still loved her. And I knew that if I stayed, I would spend every night for the rest of my life seeing her the way I saw her on that bathroom floor, singing in the shower while I read her messages. I would never unsee that. I would never unhear that singing. I asked her to leave. She did. The divorce was filed 2 weeks later. She didn't contest it. She signed everything. I didn't ask for much. I didn't want anything that smelled like her. I live in a new apartment now. It's small, it's quiet. I have a couch, a desk, a bed, no decorations, no photos on the walls. It looks like a safe house in a movie about someone starting over. Which I guess it is. My therapist called me out on the ghosting, by the way. She told me that disappearing the way I did wasn't entirely healthy either, that I used silence as control, that it was a form of punishment. She's probably right. I'm not going to pretend I handled everything perfectly, but I also know that if I'd stayed for the conversation, I would have stayed for the marriage, and if I'd stayed for the marriage, I would have spent the next 10 years wondering what she was doing every time she went to the gym at 6 a.m. I know who I am. and I know I can't live like that. Some nights I miss her, not the person she became, the person I married, the one who sat with me on the porch and didn't talk for 10 minutes, the one who knew how I took my coffee and had it ready before I woke up. I don't think that person exists anymore. Maybe she never did. Maybe I just needed her to. I'm not dating. I'm not doing some revenge glow up. I'm just a man in a quiet apartment, learning how to fall asleep without someone next to me. I'm relieved, and I'm grieving. And I don't think those two things cancel each other out.
This one sits with me. Not because of what she did. We've heard that before. But because of the way he left. No screaming match. No dramatic reveal. Just silence. A ring on a countertop and a closed door. To our original poster. I hope the quiet starts to feel less like emptiness and more like peace. You deserve that. So, if this story hit you, let me know in the comments. I read them all. Like the video if you want more stories like this. And subscribe to Lied 2 so you don't miss the next one. We'll be back soon. Thank you.